this is what we are looking at is a very spectacular score of a 715. You had actually written to Sandeep sir and the faculty team about this score, and immediately we got in touch. And this score breakdown is, as we see, 95th percentile on Quant, 97th percentile in verbal, data insight 96th percentile, right?
Yeah.
So again, a little bit background. You're a undergrad student at IIT Delhi, and
Yeah,
you
fourth year.
fourth year right now, and you had taken up this GMAT preparation at the earlier beginning of this year. And as we spoke, you mentioned it started out when a webinar in the college happened, and you decided on the deferred MBA program, right?
Yeah.
So before all of these things, when you're looking at this score right now, quant, verbal, and data insights, tell me, how do you feel about this score? Are you happy with it, or do you think you could have done any section better?
I think I am pretty much happy with it because I gave one more attempt on 18th of July, which was 1 month before it, and my score was 625.
Right.
So yeah, I was broken at that time when my score was 625, and then I decided to pursue it further. I gave it one more shot, and yeah, finally 715 happened. So I'm pretty much
Wow.
relieved now.
This is a big, talking point. We want to know what happened with 625 to a 750, almost 90 points, jump within one
Yeah.
month. We'll talk about it. So just give us a little background. Maybe we can go about back in time when you initially started. What really led you to get started with this GMAT preparation when we were still in undergrad, and what happened in the webinar? And take us through your preparation experience first. Okay.
Yeah, so the journey started with the webinar. Yeah, I attended the webinar, and then Sandeep sir came to IIT Delhi. There I meet him and discussed about my future plans. So deferred MBA was something which I was looking for. So yeah, I was not into much into placement prep. So I started earlier in my third year end. So it took me a while, like 6 to 7 months. It was almost a journey of 6 to 7 months. But yeah, it is pretty much fine now. I can apply to deferred MBA. So that was it.
Any MBA for that matter, because you have a
Yeah,
fantastic score. Maybe even if you want to give it a weight and probably apply after some years of experience, also that works. So,
yeah,
with regard to your preparation, so after the webinar, you almost immediately started off with your GMAT prep and you took the self-paced course,
yeah.
right? So, please tell me about how did you go about the entire preparation, given that you had a study plan, you had the course content, you had the materials. What was initially your struggle phase, or a challenging section per se?
So the only section in which I was struggling was verbal. So I started the verbal prep, did the RC videos and CR videos. My semester was going on, and I was parallelly preparing for it. So throughout the semester, I prepared the RC and CR. And although I did not feel that my accuracy was increasing, but yeah, I kept going in that. So the semester end, and I started again because the majors came and there was a little break. I started again. I started the videos again. I listened to them again, and yeah, mm, my journey was not very straightforward. So it took me a while to get the hold of verbal. Even in my first attempt, which was in July, I was not pretty much. I was not confident enough in verbal. So it was this 1 month from July to August in which I prepared myself for verbal more by practicing more questions.
So this is very important thing. We'll go back again asking, because a lot of students get stuck, right, in verbal
Yeah,
or be it quant, could happen both ways. We'll speak about the exam point of view also in a bit. So when you mentioned that it is not increasing in the accuracy, but you still were going on. So what
yeah,
kept you, like, at some point did you, and you also had a break, right? Because you were
yeah.
preparing for your exams. So when you got back to your preparation, did you have to start from the very beginning, or how did you restart your preparation?
My accuracy was not increasing, so I thought like to start again from the initial lectures only. So I started again the whole thing.
So you restarted. So when you were going
Yeah.
through the entire thing, did you feel like, "Arey yaar, this is something that I've already gone through the question and I know the answer." So did you feel like that, or what was your approach once you were going through the questions, or once you're going through the entire syllabus again?
Like CR, though I watch at 1.5x, so I was pretty much comfortable there watching the lectures. And RC was more on the practice side. Initially, what I was doing was not doing the practice firsthand and going to the lectures directly and pausing the lecture and doing the RC there only. After that, I started doing first all the 10 paras or 20 paragraphs and then watching the lecture. So that was a change. Yeah.
So entire semester you focused on verbal. That's what you
Yeah.
mentioned. Were you also practicing quant side by side? या बिल्कुल बंद कर दिया था?
No, quant I didn't feel I
Didn't
needed
go
much.
for it because you, but the score actually speaks otherwise. We'll come back to that as well, right? So at what point you started to see the increase in the accuracy or gaining confidence with verbal ki acha abhi chalo, I am at a point where I'm ready right now.
So I guess my case is very different. Even after 6 months of preparation and doing lots of question, I was not feeling very comfortable with verbal. And in 23 questions, when I was giving the sectionals and even the mocks, in 23 questions, I was able to attempt only 19. I was not able to go beyond 19. Whatever I do, but it was not going beyond 19. Even, yeah, that was it. It
And
was
this
not
was
going
in
beyond
your
19.
first attempt. So in the second attempt, what did you make the changes? What did you see that that gave a little bit of a lift, which led you to a 97 percentile, which is, I'm sure it's very, very fewer mistakes that is there, right?
Yeah, so by the end of first attempt, I was confident in RC, but CR was something like in inference questions, I was struggling. I don't know why, but there was something which was lacking. So I made a plan of doing the CR questions regularly, like bunch of 20 to 30 questions. Like it took very much. The practice was on the higher end in the 1 month after the first attempt, and therefore I was able to crack the verbal. And at the end, I was very much comfortable with the verbal.
Because you were confident at the end of it, right?
Yeah.
What was your mock score reflection at that time, both top and official mocks?
Top, so I get 615-ish in every mock. That was the score on the top portal. But I also purchased the official mocks at the first attempt only. So I gave all the 12 mocks, and I was getting 715, 725, 695, 685. So that was my score. And I thought that maybe top mocks are pretty much hard. So if I'm getting good in official mocks, then I will get good in the official exam. But that didn't happen. I got 15 out of 23 correct in verbal, but still it was V77.
Hmm.
And I was really shocked that how come 15 out of 23 correct and it is V77?
Hmm.
Because my target was only at that time ki I will do 16 correct or 17 correct out of 23 and I would get 81, V81 or V82. And DI and Quant would compensate for it. So yeah, I was shocked at the verbal.
Now you know the number of questions getting right or wrong doesn't decide the percentile. It is truly a lot of
Yeah.
other factors, including the position of the question, the difficulty level of the question. So all of that come to play, which is
Yeah,
very,
one thing
yeah.
more helped. Like I was watching your videos only where you were analyzing the GMAT reports. So one thing you mentioned, like in the first 14 questions, it is very necessary you do it right, and especially the first 3 to 4 questions. So in the first attempt, my first 2 questions were wrong
Mm.
in verbal. So I thought that maybe because my first questions are wrong, the percentile dropped so much. So this time I was more serious in the first three to four questions, and I tried to maintain the streak in the first 14 questions.
Right. No, but it's even difficult. I'll tell you one of our student got one question wrong in quant, one question, and that was the 20th question. Okay.
Hmm.
And he got his percentile of quant, just one question wrong was 70.
70.
Yeah. So you can never really judge on those bases. But yes, the idea is not to get the first four questions wrong because then the rhythm also, builds on. If you get the first two, three questions wrong, typically your level of the next level, because the adaptive nature of the exam, it just goes low, right?
Yeah.
So now in terms of the exam experience, right? What happened in the quant? Because then you were shooting for 100 percentile, but then at the end of it, you see that the verbal score in the last attempt that you got is more
Yeah.
than the quant score. So was there any mistake that you didn't realize at the time in the exam?
Actually, there was one question in quant that was very much lengthy in calculation. So even after 10 minutes, I was not able to figure out what is the correct answer. I was getting a wrong answer in
Mm.
that. So I did some tricks and was able to get to the right answer in that one. But I was not able to revise the section, and I don't know which question went wrong. But one question in the middle get wrong. So yeah,
Maybe later on we can check in the performance section. You can see the detailed report. Yeah.
yeah.
But overall, how was the experience in terms of, would you be able to tell us what is the order that you chose in the section, in the exam, which section that you chose first, and why did you choose that section? And was there any unusual question in the exam that you felt like, apart from this one question that you said it was lengthy, but in all
Hmm.
the sections? So could you take us through quant, verbal, and DI as well?
So I started with quant, then verbal, then DI,
Right.
and quant was easy. I was going pretty fine. Only one question was there, which was lengthy in calculation.
Correct.
So at the end, I got it right. but one question I missed, so it was Q88. Then I moved immediately to verbal, and the initial 2 3 questions were CR, and this time I was confident in critical reasoning. A pattern was made in my mind because I did so much practice in the last month, so it was fully patternized in my mind, and I was 100% sure marking the answer that this is right. So verbal, I didn't find any long passage also. The passages were 4 paragraphs and not that long. I was able to read them in 2.5 minutes and 3 minutes. So yeah, last question I missed in verbal. That was fine by me. All by the way, 20 out of 23 is my career highest in verbal, which was in the test. So that was also good. And then I took a break, shifted to DI. DI also, I was following the same strategy. I was more focusing on correcting the first 14 questions. So this time I also made sure that I do the MSR. It took very long in MSR, but I did it. So I guess in the first 15 questions, I get 13 right. And I didn't have much time for the last 4 to 5 questions. I had 5 minutes for last 5 questions, and I was able to uh, correct two of them, mark two of them correct. I actually solved them. So yeah, it
There
was.
was spacing in DI. So was it because the question on the test day was very difficult, or did something lack in your preparation or practice in the DI section?
It was because of the MSR, I guess, because in the preparation I was skipping the MSRs regularly. Like I was, if the MSR was easy, I was attempting it, and otherwise I was not attempting it, and I was getting 15, 16, maximum 17 correct in DI. So this time I took on to MSR and was able to correct 3 on 3 in them. So I guess that compensated for everything, the
Right.
last 5 questions.
Right. Perfect. Perfect. So if you have to summarize this, right, because you did take a quite long time, as you said, but it didn't go beyond 6 7 months, 6 months
Yeah.
essentially. But if you have to put this all together, because you had a break, what are the do's and the don'ts you would say for someone who is just starting out that could really help them in their preparation?
I think they should focus more on the question side. They should solve more and more questions, maybe 30 to 50 questions per day. And I think it would be fine if one would do 30 to 50 CR questions at least. And RC long sittings are very good. So if you are able to do RC long sittings, then the RC is improved automatically. So main is critical reasoning, I think. So 30 to 50 questions per day. And critical reasoning, I think a pattern will form in your mind and everything will go fine.
Right, right. Any and obviously you shouldn't skip any question as you mentioned TIP MSR. You tried skipping earlier, but you
Yeah.
should not skip any section because that can really be more difficult. So overall, what is next for you? You mentioned you haven't planned what next,
Yeah.
but as we speak right now, what do you see for yourself? Are you looking to apply right away for masters or MBA deferred, or are you considering to give it a wait sometime? Um, and probably is there any job in hand? What are you looking at?
So I'll be sitting in the placements. So I don't have a job currently, and my plans are like I will apply for the deferred, the top 7 10 schools, irrespective of what my profile is. I would give my best in that. If I got accepted, then it's fine, and if it doesn't go that way, then I have 5 years of the validation, so I can always apply later. One more thing I have in mind is maybe MS in finance. I will explore some of the courses in the finance field, the masters. So because that aligns with my interest, and maybe one or two top MIMs I would apply, so that I have some offer in my hand when I'm out of my college. So yeah, that's my plan currently.
Right. Thank you so much, Vansh, for sharing all your insights. 715 is an outstanding score. With this score, you can really look at even getting an internship or even an MBA effort. We really hope that happens. And for any questions henceforth, like if you want to be talking about your MS in finance, whatever the options are, do connect with our admission consultant team. Do connect with me. We'll just be able to help you guide further and look at for what next insights. The round one deadlines and round two deadlines are just about around the corner.
Yeah.
So let's see what we can do best when you do have the score and you like to see the opportunity of getting an admit, and then you can decide, do you even want to take this admission offer or not, right?
Yeah. Yes.
So we'll look at it very soon. We'll stay connected. But big congratulations on taking that step of giving your GMAT one step closer to wherever you're going next, right?
Yeah.
Again,
Thanks.
thank you so much for joining me this evening. You have a lovely day ahead. Bye bye.
Thank you. Bye. Bye.
Take care.